When you thought of Seattle, this is what came to mind. But that is about to change.
Seattle, the NHL is thrilled to welcome you.
I would like to introduce the first ever head coach of the Seattle Kraken, Dave Hackstall.
Building a hockey team from the ground up is really exciting.
Over 100 years ago, the Seattle Metropolitans became the first American team to be awarded the Stanley Cup and some of the last faces to represent hockey in this city. That is, until today.
Welcome to Gasworks Park in Seattle. This is the 2021 NHL
With the names that are available, they got an opportunity to split the difference there. There's a lot of, in my opinion, team-friendly contracts. I know a lot of people don't like Tarasenko, but I think he gets paid $7.2 million for the next 2 years. That's a palatable contract for me. I know there's a history of him being injured. It's a gamble I'd be willing to take. Like I said, Landeskog, I think he'll be too much, so I wouldn't really want to take him on. But there's other players available too, like Taylor Hall, things like that, where I think you can get them on pretty palatable contracts that you should take a dive at and bring them in. So I think it'll be like definitely a split the difference type deal.
Here we go, buddy. Boston Bruins.
So from the Boston Bruins, the Seattle Kraken select Jeremy Lauzon.
Okay, that's unexpected.
Jeremy Lauzon. I do not know this guy.
Shut down defenseman from my knowledge. Sometimes he's a little foolish with the puck. I don't know, man. I was expecting Connor Clifton on this one.
Yeah, especially because Clifton left him, Boston left Clifton exposed. And he has a really good contract. This guy doesn't seem to have too much NHL experience that they drafted.
Connor Clifton only had $1 million left on his contract. Yeah, I know it's only for one more year, but I don't know, man. That's a 6'1" defenseman, 204 pounds. Buffalo Sabres.
Buffalo Sabres are in a little bit of a rebuild here right now, so it'll be really interesting if they made a side deal or not. I don't know. I don't think they're releasing any information on side deals, but
Will Borgen. Hasn't he played 14 NHL games?
I believe that guy has never registered a point in the NHL. He is developing into a shutdown player, aggressive, plays the boards, throws the hits. But there was definitely, better prospects that you could have taken.
4 goals, 21 assists, and 140 AHL games with the Rochester Americans. It's a well-rounded AHL player they just took. I can't believe they didn't take Zemas Girgensson or someone like that. That's sort of who I was expecting on that one.
That was an easy pick for me too. I would have picked Zemas Girgensson. Shocked by this pick, actually, especially with the depth of D that's available. Really surprised they went with this veteran AHL player.
Detroit's pick with an octopus. That's fitting. I like that.
I do like that. He's really playing on who it is.
Dennis Cholowski. 3 defense have been picked now, Rob.
Just by the way, they're going alphabetical from divisions, I guess. But it's not a guy I was going to pick.
From Langley, so he's just living up the road now. Sorry, down the road down in Seattle from Vancouver. I was really expecting Troy Stretcher out of Detroit on that one. That one's quite shocking to me.
Yeah, Troy Stretcher plays in Vancouver. Obviously, Detroit just picked him up. He still has another year left on his contract, and he has NHL experience. He's not a tall defenseman, but I was actually, as a Vancouver fan, sad to see him go. So I was a little, curious what GM Ron Francis sees in this player, but obviously there's a lot of conversations that took place, a lot of things that we don't know about. And, Dennis Cholowski could be making a jump right into the D line. We got to see what we're going with. They went, with how many D that was available with experience. It was going to be really interesting to see where he fits on this team because they've chose a few D men here that I do not recognize.
Yeah. I am a little shocked, right? Troy Stretcher, even if they got him for that one more year, they could have easily flipped him next year, you know what I mean, for another draft pick or something like that, for someone that's looking for a little more depth in
From
the
the Florida Panthers, the Seattle Kraken select Chris.
It was released a couple days ago. They were working on a deal with Chris Drager. It's sort of, this is an obvious pick. It was released days before that they were working on an agreement. They came to an agreement. What's your thoughts on this one?
like you said, obvious choice. Chris Dreger, he's 6'4", he's 27. He is, his sample size in the NHL appears to be really small, but his stats are amazing. They're .927 save percentage of last season. And the only reason why he has so few games played is because Florida's paying $10 million to Bobrovsky.
I definitely agree with that. Like this year, he definitely was the dominant goalie in net. It sort of sucks the situation that Florida's in, where they have Bobrovsky at $10 million, and then they had this guy in the back that was looking beautiful, and then they had a stellar goalie in the minors right now. What a terrible situation to be in, that you got a goalie you're paying $10 million to that's just not living up to the hype.
Yeah, I don't know why they went with Bobrovsky on this one, because Dredger was obviously playing so well. And you could form for way less money. And like you said, you had Spencer Knight and they had Levi. They had an amazing goalie situation, and they really effed themselves over by taking on this Bobrovsky contract, especially for as long as they did. Yeah, he did, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a contract that you can easily pass on to if things aren't really going well, depending on who they pick up as another goalie.
From the Montreal Canadiens,
This should have
Seattle
been an
Kraken
easy
select
pick.
Yeah.
Cale Fleury.
Cale Fleury.
That was not the easy pick.
Over Jonathan Drouin.
Jonathan Drouin was the easy choice. You could slot him in the top two lines.
Carey Price was exposed. Shea Weber was exposed.
I can understand why, Carey Price, older, still gets paid. I think Carey Price gets paid $10 million, doesn't he? And
1 goal in 41 NHL career games, not an assist registered.
yeah, he's not a guy I'd gone with. Jonathan Drouin, like I said, top two lines, palatable contract, healthy, easy, slot in, no problem.
Yeah, Jonathan Drouin's like easily capable of getting like 20 plus goals, 50 points a season. I don't really understand the pick there. Macklemore with the pick coming for the Ottawa Senators.
Ottawa Senators going to be a really interesting pick. There's not a lot to choose from.
Select Joey Decord.
Now,
Yeah, what do you think of that one?
not what I was expecting, but I did get into a lot of conversations with people, and this was a huge question mark for me, was finding that third goalie. Right? We can all, Joey Decord easily slots into the third spot. We'll spend time in the minors. He's only, I believe, 24, so he still has a few years to go before he actually gets to the point where he breaks into the NHL. And he was playing really well with the Ottawa Senators last year when they hit all those injuries. Mm-hmm. And he only has, I think, 8 games last season. He could have had a lot more if he didn't get injured himself. Good third-string goalie, because you needed a third guy.
Okay, so you think they're going to have another goalie then? That's going to be a backup to Chris Dreger.
Yes.
Okay.
From the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Seattle Kraken select Yanni Gourde.
Yanni Gourde. They had so many great picks out of Tampa Bay, right? Just with their cap situation, they had to lose so many players exposed. I think that's a good pick.
That's a great pick. And I was actually honestly getting scared here because with the way the picks have been going, not recognizing a lot of these players, a lot of them AHL, WHL players, them picking Yanni Gourde was a huge relief.
They had some like huge choices too. Like Sklorin, Andre Palat, Tyler Johnson. They had a lot of like great players. 6 seasons he's been with the NHL right now. Wow.
Yeah, this is going to easily, that's the guy that's going to be the top line for sure.
Yeah, he was on my list. I think it could have gone also to Tyler Johnson, but the cap hit, I think that's maybe what Francis stayed away from.
And Ron Francis seems to be very cautious of who they're taking on because of
money wise. Yeah. They let a video slip earlier. Alex Kerfoot was the pick.
Sorry. All right. Well, with that, the Seattle Kraken select from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Crack Jack.
Hey. Oh.
Forward, Jared
McCann from the Toronto Maple Leafs, former Pittsburgh Penguin.
Not Kerfoot. Great pick. Really happy with this pick, actually.
Yeah, Kyle Dubas obviously picked him up there just to keep the Toronto Maple Leafs like core attached, right? Like intact. And this is a pick I think was exposed. It was the pick I was gonna take anyways. He's a very well-rounded player, and he's played with Vancouver, Florida, and Pittsburgh, and I think that was the right choice.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a good guy that will slot into the second line. Don't know who the other guys are yet. Still got a lot of teams to go, but I definitely feel like this is a second line player.
Okay, so the video that slipped earlier, was it released accidentally? Or was that the player do you think they were actually going to choose?
Kerfoot, I don't know. I thought I was a player they were going to choose. I really did. When it was initially released, I did feel like someone effed up. But watching all these picks here right now, it seems to be based off salary cap.
Yeah.
And I think Kerfoot, good pick, but I don't think that was going to be their player just because of the salary cap that comes
Carolina
with
Panthers.
Easy
up next,
pick, new rider,
regular
top,
playoff team.
either
And
first
Dom
or second line.
is out in the audience with some special
And it's a
guests
player
and
that
a
you
very
can have for 1
inspiring
year,
group. Dom.
and then retain some salary and flip them off for depth for another contending team if they don't do well this year.
Pick?
Yep. From the Carolina Hurricanes, the Seattle Kraken select Morgan.
Yeah, not the guy I was expecting.
I can see why they picked him if he played in Washington. If he's Carolina's pick as well, I'm assuming Jeremy Ron Francis probably drafted him. So maybe he's liking how he's developing, seeing something we're not seeing. He probably knows a lot more about this player than what we know right now.
When an HL Calder Cup champion in 2019, I'm a little shocked.
Obviously, there's a tie to him, but yeah, I would have definitely taken Niederreiter. Now, the Blue Jackets, I think, were the biggest duds for what they
From
could
the
offer the
Columbus
team.
Blue Jackets, the Seattle Kraken select Gavin
Bayruth.
Bayruth.
Gavin Bayruth are drafted by Seattle Krakens from the Columbus Blue Jackets.
28 games played in the NHL, 212 in the AHL. Buddy, this is an AHL team they're drafting right now.
This is a Seattle Kraken team that's not going to have a lot of experience on the ice. They need to inherit some experience real quick here.
Like I know Max Domi was exposed. Is that a guy you would have taken?
No, not a chance.
No, neither would I.
Did horrible in Arizona, horrible with Montreal, doing horrible with Columbus. He's just not a player that's going to live up to this
from the New
contract
Jersey
they've been
Devils.
paid. And
Forward, Nathan
Bastian from the New Jersey Devils.
not a guy I would have taken either. Will Butcher was available. That was a guy that I definitely saw that was being taken. Jeremy Ron Francis does like a defensive team. That's what he built with the Carolina Hurricanes before he left. And I thought Will Butcher would have fit nicely in that lineup.
Yeah, no, I actually was expecting Will Butcher myself.
There was big name like PK Subban available. His contract's too much. He's dead weight now.
Yeah, he's not performing at what he once did when he was with Montreal either, and that 1 year with Nashville.
Like, PK is a good defensive player, deserves to be in the NHL, doesn't need that contract. It's too much. You'll never get rid of that. You'll be plagued with that for the rest of your career. But also for a third string goalie, this is where I thought it could came from as well with Cormier.
Okay.
He played with Winnipeg, bounced to Arizona, and then I think he went to somewhere on the East Coast and then back up to Winnipeg, and these were all pickup and drops.
Mm-hmm.
Like he even released an interview last year about how he just lived in his car driving each city because he didn't know where he was going to end up.
Islanders up next. This one was sort of released
Ron,
also
tell us
a
who
little
your
bit
pick
early.
is for my hometown team, the New York Islanders.
Okay, Sue, from the New York Islanders, the Seattle Kraken select Jordan Eberle.
Easy pick.
Easy pick. I don't think you would have picked anyone else. Jordan Eberle, absolutely great player. I don't know how he's going to perform not having Matthew Barzal on the line with him. But he's not going to probably be on a defensive stricken team, so this might be an explosion for him. Do you see an A on his chest coming up?
I could definitely see an A. I don't think Seattle Kraken's going to throw a C on anybody. I think they're going to do what Vegas did, probably wait, figure out their identity a little bit. But this is going to be a perfect player that's going to team up right beside Yanni Gourde and Jordan Eberle. I think you're going to be a great duo together.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
So I definitely see the top line forming right now. They just need one more piece to slot up there, and I think we got our top line.
And Jordan Eberle too. He lives in Calgary, so in the off season, it's not a far travel for him. I'm sure he enjoys being back over on the West Coast. The away jersey is the white. Yes or no?
Pretty good. Not bad. I think I would like to see a little color in the shoulders though, or something in the collar. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Break it up a little bit up top. I think that's the color of the jersey they should have went with.
A teal jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a nice color. You know what? Why are we still using in the NHL just white as your away color? You know what I mean? If a team's coming in and they got a dark color jersey, a light teal should be allowed to be used as an away jersey. I think.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I don't think we have to stick to the white
Colin
anymore.
Blackwell.
That's the pick I would have taken. Colin Blackwell.
I wasn't too New York Rangers didn't really know who was available, so I don't really know much about Colin Blackwell either.
Well, he only carries a cap hit of like $725,000. So he's low cap hit. He just made his debut in 2019. as a member of the Predators. Overall, I see him as a bottom 6 forward, but he didn't really have much choice coming out of New York Rangers, and it was sort of the more well-rounded player I would have taken.
Well, nothing says Seattle quite like the iconic Space Needle. This building was once the tallest building west of the Mississippi.
Again, Seattle had a lot more difficult time than Vegas did. Obviously, all the GMs in the league were preparing for this expansion draft, so they didn't leave a lot on the table for
absolutely, Kevin. It's a gorgeous day up here at the top.
GM Ron Francis take.
Most commanding views of the Seattle skyline, the Seattle waterfront down below that with the Washington State ferries, and of course the home waters of the Kraken, Elliott Bay, and the Puget Sound.
Sweet.
And then a little closer in today, we have a view of Seattle Kraken superfan Paul Buxton.
Paul, what's up? Nice to meet you, man. Pleasure meeting you.
You ever been to the Space Needle?
I've never been. You?
No, I've been to the bottom of it. I've never actually been up top.
I've seen it.
Hey, Ron, who are we picking from the Flyers?
From the Philadelphia Flyers, the Seattle Kraken select Carson
Tarawenski.
I don't know what they're doing. 22 NHL games. We have a lot of they've drafted. I think we're over half the draft right now. They've selected a lot of players that have under 100 NHL games. I know 100 NHL games seem like a lot, but when in regular season's 84 games, this is not a lot of games.
Who is this guy? I don't have a clue.
No idea. All I know is from the team they're drafting, they're going to be sitting there and going, I don't know who's going to be in the minor. Like, out of the 23 rostered players, so far what I've seen, I don't know who they're cutting because they're all the same. They're all in the same caliber of AHL players.
Do you think that they're filling up their AHL team, trying to bolster that, and they're going to pick up players in free agency?
I hope they make a big splash in free agency so far because we're over half, and I feel like the forward depth and even the Ds have taken so far are very questionable.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have the numbers of the analytics behind me, but this is going to be a test for analytics if this is what was one of the deciding factors and not just money.
This is Pittsburgh's picker up right now. Pittsburgh actually had a lot of players I really liked available. Aston Reese was one of them. Brand Tanev's another one.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't think they'll go with D from this pick because they've already gone with so many D already.
I'm sort of expecting Tanev, for an exposed player. He's not too much. He's $3.5 million a year.
And like Aston Reese is the exact same player as Tanev too. They play together on the same line. Play really well together. They're aggressive, more
From the
physical
Pittsburgh Penguins,
forwards.
the Seattle Kraken select Brandon Tanev.
Brandon Tanev.
Great pick.
Brandon is here with us today.
Brandon Tanev normally sits on the third line for Pittsburgh. When there's injuries, he gets bumped up to the second line. Just with who we've seen drafted so far, going over halfway through the draft, I definitely feel Brandon Tanev's going to be a second line player for the Seattle Krakens.
What's going on, Kraken fans?
Yeah, he's got a little charisma to him. It's gonna be good to see him too. He's gonna get to play against his brother a lot more up in Calgary.
I'm really happy with this pick. This was a great pick. I picked this player up a lot in fantasy hockey. He is a well-rounded player, and he's as physical as he is on the ice. He is able to score. So it's gonna be really interesting if he takes a bit of a dip of production because
nice little backhand there.
With what I've seen, he is gonna be a second line on the Seattle Kraken. Is my expectation.
Couldn't see him as like a left wing to like a center Jordan Eberle.
Nah, I see Eberle on the top line. I only see Tanev getting up there if there's injuries right now.
Mm-hmm. He won the NCAA championship with Providence in 2015. Led his team in hits each of the past 4 seasons. That's a fantasy player you need right there.
Yeah, that's why I have him on my team every year. He's my late round pickup because when he gets bumped up to those lines where he could possibly skate with Malkin, Crosby, you gotta have him. So.
Yeah.